This week, a Connecticut lawmaker found himself in the middle of an online firestorm for trying to protect his constituents. Authorities are investigating a flood of death threats and harassing messages aimed at State Representative Corey Paris after a post he made on social media advising the local community to stay vigilant during ICE raids in the area. The post was amplified by the popular online account Libs of TikTok, which called on the Justice Department to charge him criminally. And that message was later reposted by ICE with the Justice Department tagged. Joining me now is Connecticut State Representative Corey Paris, a Democrat. Representative Paris, this is the first time you're telling your story on TV. Tell me about your experience. What prompted you to post the message, and how did you discover it had gone viral?
Well, Reverend, thank you for having me first and foremost. And you're right, it is the first time that I'm sharing this story. What prompted me to post the message was just out of a moral mission. I was elected to do a job. I was elected to protect my constituents. And as I've done and many of my colleagues have done, we've just simply tried to amplify the message of sharing with folks to be safe in the areas that we live in, especially in times right now. I didn't realize that it had gone viral until I started getting tagged on things on X. And it was a little weird to me, but then I think things had kind of gotten out of control by the time it had actually reached ICE, reposting it and telling the Department of Justice to basically call for my arrest, which then has now led to many folks calling for my death. And also calls that have been made to me threatening my family as well. And so for me,
You said that one said you should be lynched?
Lynched, executed. Many people who have called, one caller in particular said he knew where my family lived, he knew where I lived, was coming for us. And again, it's all very weird to us that this has just come out of nowhere, but certainly we feel under attack by the federal government, who has not doubled down.
Have you heard from anyone in the Trump administration about this?
Anyone in the Trump administration, if that includes DHS and DOJ, they've both given statements to publications simply saying that I was wrong and I put their agents at risk, and I never did anything of the sort.
What about local law enforcement? Is there any concern about your safety? Are you given any protection?
Well, I certainly don't want to comment on my safety right now with local law enforcement. All law enforcement across our state has been helpful, and I think that this is a reminder for many people, other elected officials and just regular citizens, that you could be targeted by this government at any point in time. What's more important is that you have to be vigilant and remain safe while under attack.
Now, were you familiar with the account Libs of TikTok before this? What have you learned about how information spreads online through right-wing accounts?
Yeah, I was not familiar with Libs of TikTok before this, and I will tell you that what's really important is that for about 72 hours, all of this information had been spread across Christian media, conservative media, Trump, pro-Trump MAGA media. And so for 3 days, no one had reported the story, but many of the conservatives and many of the followers of Libs of TikTok had been writing articles for conservative outlets saying that I had doxed folks. And that's just not true. So many people have now amplified the story 10 times more than what we would have expected. And it's been reviewed or shared or liked more than 2 million times.
Now, many of your fellow Democratic lawmakers have rallied around you. What has been the response to the support you've received?
Well, it's been overwhelming. And again, I think many people are worried about our safety and our well-being. But, you know, for me and my family, we are certainly shaken, but we're not moved. We know that there was a moral obligation to do this because the way that I was raised, Rev, is that this country was founded and built by 3 classes of people: the enslaved person, the refugee, and the immigrant. That's in our DNA as a country. And when we start to forget that, we start to move away from the democracy that we all have upheld an oath to defend. And so some of my Republican colleagues have reached out. There are other Republican colleagues who have said that, you know, other atrocious things. All I can do is continue to do the work for those who have elected me to office.
Now, this incident sends a clear sign that this administration and their supporters don't want people to understand their rights when confronted by law enforcement.
Right.
Why do you think that is, and what can we as normal, everyday citizens do to counter this?
Well, Rev, I wish I could certainly be in the mindset of any member of the administration to understand why they're doing what they're doing. But there's one thing that guarantees due process in this country, and that's the Constitution of the United States. And so if we're defending the Constitution, it includes and guarantees due process around liberty and property and freedom for any person, not citizen, for any person. So I think it's important for us to know our rights and to be able to fight back given the very documents that have upheld our institutions and our government for so long.
What's next for you, Corey? Do you think you'll be able to continue to do your job?
I'm going to have to find a way to do my job no matter what, Rev, because that's the kind of person that I am. I cannot shriek in the face of many of these bullies, many of the intimidation. That's what they want for so many of us to do. They want us to shriek away and be intimidated and be silenced. And I certainly cannot do that because, once again, where there is no dissent in this country, there is no democracy. And so because we have dissent in this country and we've had it for so long, and you know this by way of your career, it is important for us to keep our democracy strong when we have that notion.
Well, we are praying for you and all concerned. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Rev.
Connecticut State Representative Corey Paris.